Hi, I'm Greg Schaefer, and welcome to the Virtual CISO Moment. Very excited this morning to announce that we are now licensed providers of FAIR-based, open, fair, quantitative risk assessments. Now, if you've been following this video series, you have probably picked up a little bit on the difference between qualitative and quantitative risk assessments in information security. But just a summary of that is that your qualitative risk assessments are the ones that have the heat maps, the red, the yellow, and the green, the traffic light representation of risk. So you might have a subject matter expert saying, like a CISO, saying, well, because you don't have this one control in place, this is a high risk for information security for the organization. And then you also might have some pseudo math built into it. And I say pseudo because it's not really real math in a way, in that you're not really multiplying anything of measurable value. So you have a subject matter expert that will determine that the likelihood, say on a scale of 1 to 5, is a 4 that this might happen, and that the impact is a 5. So you multiply those two together, and on your risk scale of 1 to 25, that's a 20, which on your scale is a very high risk and then needs to be taken care of. But those numbers don't mean anything. They're just representations of a subject matter expert's opinion, which is a valid thing, but it doesn't tell you about the cost exposure of what if we don't have this control in place. What is our measurable exposure to risk of an information security incident? And that's what quantitative risk analysis does. So perhaps the most popular and most well-known quantitative risk analysis methodology out there is called FAIR, Factor Analysis of Information Risk, FAIR. It's been around for a while, really I believe since the middle 2000s, but it's only recently become more and more popular as far as a methodology for providing that sort of information beyond the subject matter expert's opinion on risk, high, medium, or low. So basically what FAIR does is provide a most likely value and a range of cost exposure given a certain scenario, certain risk environment. So in other words, you can take FAIR and you can determine what the effects of implementing a particular control might be. So to distill it down a little bit further, you do two analyses, and actually you can do them both at the same time, where you have a current and a proposed state. The current state might be, well, because we've analyzed, we've used FAIR, we realize that we have an exposure of $50,000 annualized. And after doing the implementing the control, we run the analysis again and we realize that our exposure now is decreased to $5,000. So that's a $45,000 annualized difference, and perhaps this particular control costs $20,000 a year. You've now made a case for the return on investment for implementing this control beyond the fact of somebody just saying, well, this is a high risk and you need to take care of it. Being part of the open group also enables us to be an active member, voting member of the open group security forum, which I'm particularly excited about because we get to participate directly in the development of new and exciting standards, not just FAIR related, but in other areas of information security. But that's our announcement for the day. I'm very excited about it, excited to get the day started, and if there's anything that I can do to help you with regards to understanding risk assessments, quantitative assessments, open FAIR, just let me know. Always happy to help. So thank you very much.